Welcome back. So now we're going to pick up with the rest of our RESTful routes. We did index, then we took a break to add in semantic UI, the header and the footer partials. Now we're going to do new and create, so that by the end of this video, when I click on new post, I should see a form, and then I can go to that form, fill it out, and then hit submit. It will take me back to the index page, and I should see another post. So let's get started. First thing we need to do is create the new route, which, remember, new shows us a form. It's a get request /dogs or /blogs /new, and it just shows a form. So let's start there. We'll do it after our index, and let's add that in here, index route. Now let's do new route, and I'll add in create route as well. So for our new route, it's an app.get /blogs /new. And new is really simple. It's the shortest one really, because all that we have to do is render the same form every time. We don't have to look anything up in the database. We don't have to send any data to the form. All we need to do is render new. And then we need to make that file, of course. So touch views /new.ejs c9 views /new. Okay, and let's start simple. And I'll have us use a little semantic UI here. So we'll do a div, and this div will be simple. It just has a class UI main text container segment. So there's a lot of stuff there. I'll break that down in just a moment. And then inside of that, let's add in a header. And to do that, we can do a UI huge header. And let's just call this new blog. And if we see this, we'll know that we succeeded. So start the app up. Oh, and actually, we need to include our partials too. Otherwise, we'll see a div, but we won't see any of the semantic styles. So we need our EJS include dot/partials /header. Same line at the bottom, partials /footer. Save, refresh this page, and go to blog /new. And we have two problems. The first is a spacing issue. We can fix that pretty easily, but we're getting the right template. But I noticed something a little weird, which is that our icon went back to being small. On the home page, it's large. On this page, it's small. And I spent a while looking at this. It's kind of a weird error. I figured it out. It's really one of those frustrating ones that come up every now and then where it's not terribly obvious at first, but I'll walk you through briefly what I noticed. You can see it says in the console, it failed to load the style sheet, app.css, but it was looking for it under /blogs /stylesheets /app.css. And that's not where it should look. And so I looked at the link that we set up in the header file, and I noticed I forgot one small thing, a slash. So if we refresh now, you'll see that it finds it, and we don't get an error over here. And if you looked in the Sources tab, you can see that it doesn't look inside of blogs, which is what it was doing before. Now it looks outside of style sheets. And now we end up with that larger code icon in the navbar. Next, let's tackle the issue of the navbar overlapping the rest of our content. And fixing this is fortunately very easy now that we have that style sheet set up. All we need to do is add some margin to the top of this element, which is the container element. Everything we do will be inside of that container, so we'll select that in our style sheet, app.css, and we'll just do .container, and then all we want to do is margin top, and rather than setting a number of pixels, I'm going to use EM as well, just so that you see it more often. We haven't really seen it much. And you'll see we have another problem, which is that the container, if we inspect, is also inside the navbar. Remember, we have UI container there. So we only want to target things that are containers that also are main, or containers that are also segments, or something other than just general containers. So that's another easy fix. We'll go back and just do .main. So that means something that has both those classes. Now we refresh, and it looks much better. So we didn't mess with the margin of this container here inside the nav or the menu. We just played with this one here. Enough of the styling, now let's get the form to work. So instead of our new.ejs, we want a form, and our form needs to look like this, where it goes to /blogs, which if you forgot, we look at our RESTful routes, and you can see create is /dogs, the same as the index, as a post. So this form needs to go to /blogs, where method is post. And then inside of the form, we want a few inputs. The first one will just be type equals text, just like that, and type equals text, and we'll give it name equal to blog title, and then placeholder is equal to title, and then we'll duplicate that, except rather than title, we'll do it for image. And this should be review from setting up the post requests from a few videos ago. And then we'll do the same thing for content, which we called body. I'll just put it blog post goes here as a placeholder. All right, so we have that done, and then we need a way to submit it. So we'll do input type equals submit, just like that, and then save. Let's see what we get. Here's our form, not really styled. We'll get to that soon, but it should work just fine. If we submit, we should get an error that says cannot post to /blogs. That's because our create route doesn't exist. So let's do that now. /dogs as a post. So inside of our app.js, under the create route comment, we'll do an app.post /blogs, our callback. Perfect. And in here, we actually need to create that new blog. So we have two steps. Create blog, then we want to redirect. And we'll redirect to the index for now. So to create the blog, we need a blog.create. And the first thing is the data, so that won't work just yet. And the second thing is the callback. So our callback we could start with, where we have an error, and then if it worked, we'll have the new blog. And the data that we're passing through, remember from the video on the post requests, it's all inside of request.body. And whatever we named it in our form. In our form, everything is inside of blog, and I grouped them together. So if we just do request.body.blog, it automatically has title, image, and body. We give it request.body.blog as the first argument. It takes that data, creates a new blog. When it's done, calls this callback. And we do our standard if error. We'll just do instead of console.logging, let's render the new form again. Else, we'll do a res.redirect to /blogs. And we should see the new blog show up there if it worked. So let's move this comment. And let's see what happens if we give it a shot. So we'll save. We have to restart the server. Let's go all the way back to the root. I'm going to copy this image URL just so we have an image. Our title will be blog post 2. Here's our image and our blog post. Submit. And it works. Perfect. And you can see we have a title, an image, a very short blog post, the body, and our created date is also displaying. Wonderful. So to recap all of that, two routes, new and create. New is the / whatever the name of the model is, dogs in our case, or actually blogs /new. Get request, it shows the form. Create is /dogs, just like the index was, except it's a post request. And that's where the new form sends data to add to the database, creates a new dog, and then it redirects back. It doesn't have to be the index. Most of the time it's actually the show page, which we'll see in the next video. Let's quickly style up our application. Let's do the form. So to use semantic, first thing we'll do is give our form a class equal to UI form. And then inside of that form, each one of these inputs will be in a div, and that div will have class equal to fields. And then we'll add a label in, which we don't have yet. And the first label will be title, and then we'll take our title input right there. Perfect. And then we'll do this a few more times. We need one of these for the image. Change the label to say image. And then one change I do want to make is that rather than having our blog form be an input like this, I want to make it a text area where a user can type some more text, like an actual blog post. And to fix that, rather than making this an input, we are going to have a div class field still and a label, and we'll just call it blog content. But rather than this input, we're going to add a text area tag, which we did see early on, but we haven't really used much, and it's a little different than inputs. We still give it a name, so still blog body, and then we save, but we don't give it a type equal text because it's not an input. It's its own designated tag that has an opening and closing tag, and it behaves a little differently as well when we get to edit. So we'll see that in just a moment. So get rid of that, and then we'll style our button. If we take a look at what we have now, it looks pretty good, except the button can be styled a little bit nicer. And if I pull up Semantic UI and go to button, there are way more buttons in Semantic than in Bootstrap. So different types, but also lots of colors. Basic buttons and then inverted buttons as well. So pick one of these that you like. I'm going to go with my favorite. Let's do violet or purple. And if you take a look at the source code, all that you need is class equal to UI, the color, basic, button. And while I do this, I'll explain why it's called Semantic UI. And the main reason is that unlike Bootstrap, where we have this kind of weird jargon, btn, btn-lg, btn-default, for instance, which I love Bootstrap, I'm not really knocking it, but the reason that Semantic was created was in response to this kind of markup, where instead we can have UI, violet, basic, button, or I can do UI, violet, inverted button. So basic for now is fine, and that's all that it takes. Very simple. It's not that it's less characters. It's not about being shorter. It's about being meaningful, where you can easily look at this and understand what it means. So if we go back now and refresh, I have that button. And if I want to make it large, it's really easy. All I have to do is type big. So I don't have to do btn-lg, just big. I refresh, and we get a bigger button. And that's it. So let's test it out again. I'm going to use the same bulldog URL. Let's just call this my new dog. More blog content. Submit, and it works fine. Great. All right, so we've covered index, we've covered new and create, and I showed you a tiny bit of Semantic UI to get the forms and the buttons. In the next video, we'll work on the show page.